Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to Mvskoke Vision. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, and we are very excited to bring you another episode of this great program. A lot of hustle this week, a lot of things going on out there, and a lot of things happening that we are covering. So great news to share with you today, and some features as well. I had a chance to go up to Oklahoma City, history being made as the first ever Native American citizen named mayor of Oklahoma City, elected mayor of Oklahoma City. He is mayor-elect David Holt, and he will take the office here in a few short weeks. But we're excited about that. We have him on camera. We have him on the program today. So we're excited to show you that a little bit later on. Also, some other news happening around the Mvskoke Creek Nation that we're going to talk about. A new cabinet member, a new cabinet post, Mr. Ben Cheney taking over as Secretary of Interior Affairs. We'll get to that a little bit later on as well. And some great programs, a new program down at the reintegration program that they're excited about. We're going to let you hear some information on that, as well as just all kinds of other things going on at Mvskoke Media as we continue our coverage on several other things. And I want to always encourage you, as I do usually at the beginning and the end of the show, but read your Mvskoke news. Read the Mvskoke Media website, mvskokemedia.com, to stay up on everything and to know show schedules, a little bit about us, where you can contact us, things like that. We want to hear your feedback. We always want to talk to the citizens that are reading our website, they're reading our newspaper, they're listening to our radio show, and they're watching our television program and our online content. So always want to stay connected with the citizens out there. And we try to give you a good show every week, and we hope that everybody out there continues to watch with us as you have so faithfully for this great long time that we've been together. So we're going to take our break here, our first break. We'll come right back with the show. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Mvskoke Vision. All right, and welcome back to the program as we get started this week. And big news out of Oklahoma City. Big League City, they call it, because of bringing the NBA team there. Well, one of the gentlemen that had such a huge part in that actually wrote the book, Big League City, Mr. David Holt, former Oklahoma State Senator, now mayor-elect of Oklahoma City. He won in a landslide, and he is the first mayor of Oklahoma City that will be of Native American descent. He's an Osage citizen. So stepping out of the Mvskoke Creek Nation box just for a moment to get you this exclusive interview. We sat in his office. He allowed us in and sat right in his office with him as he prepares to leave the Senate chambers, go and be the mayor of Oklahoma City. Ran under banner of One OKC. I asked him about all kinds of things, his Osage heritage, politics, and getting involved in that and having to kind of get through that and making history as the first Native American to hold the office. So, David Holt, the new mayor of Oklahoma City.
First, I'll say something about the history I think we're making. You know, it's not, I think an American Indian mayor of any large city would be exciting, and I bet that list is pretty short. We can't even find it. Nobody keeps it, you know. It may be something to look into, but to be the mayor of Oklahoma City is especially unique. It's not like being the mayor of an American Indian mayor of Detroit. I mean, Oklahoma is obviously the capital state of many tribal nations, and the biggest city and the capital city of that state is a special place. And you know, it's kind of unfortunate that we haven't had this happen in the last, 125 years that Oklahoma City has been planted here. But I'm excited to carry that banner forward. And In this campaign, I talked a lot about one OKC. That was kind of my whole theme throughout. And it was a nonpartisan race, which is in some contrast to the politics that we currently have around the country. And I was able to, I took advantage of that. I said, I'm going to chase every vote. I'm going to build a coalition of people from across the ideological spectrum, from across our city. I mean, here in Oklahoma City, we have divisions like every city does. I mean, the Latino community lives here, the African American community lives here, but and we all live in our bubbles, and I tried to break through those walls, and I plan to continue doing that as mayor. But we ultimately had a coalition of support: Democrats, Republicans, people from the north side, people from the south side, people from the east side, African Americans, Latinos, American Indians. We had it all, and I was excited and proud of that. And we're going to carry that forward into the governance. My background is that I spent 5 years at City Hall before I spent 8 years here in the Oklahoma Senate, so I'm very familiar with how Oklahoma City got where it is. A lot of people here feel that we've been on a good track and that there's a lot of momentum, but we want to make sure that extends to all parts of the city and that it continues. Yeah, I want to be the mayor for the whole city. And too often in current American politics, politicians say, here's how I'm going to get to 51%. and I don't care if that means the other 49% hate my guts, And that's no way to lead, and that's certainly no way to bind this thing together. Here in Oklahoma City, we've got 650,000 people within the city limits, and that's, as you can imagine, that's a very diverse group of people. Here in Oklahoma City, I think one of the reasons we've never had an American Indian mayor, and we've had pushback on things like Indigenous Peoples Day, is that, we were the unassigned lands. There is no tribal headquarters here in Oklahoma City, which is odd, really. I mean, every part of the state and the state government has these deep interactions with tribal governments that we sort of lack here in Oklahoma City. But that's changing. You have the Chickasaw Nation is sort of staked a claim here. It's not their traditional tribal land, but they have put a lot of investment here in Oklahoma City. They're becoming sort of the de facto tribe of Oklahoma City. Other tribes have got, are starting, I think, to build more involvement here. And then the city is partnering to open the American Indian Cultural Center, which is going to be a world-class facility on the Oklahoma River. So all of these things are happening at the same time. And then I come into office, and here in Oklahoma City, this has been actually a fairly divisive argument for 2 or 3 years. Every fall it comes up, whether we're going to have an Indigenous Peoples Day. And certainly, as the first American Indian mayor, and as a place that hosts the Red Earth Festival, as a place that's going to host the American Indian Cultural Center, as a place that is the capital state of essentially Indian country here in Oklahoma, capital city, I mean, we need to resolve this. I don't want to continue to have a public argument every year about Indigenous Peoples Day. And I saw that Tulsa adopted a version of it. I think they called it American Indian Day. And I need to get in there in the office, kind of get everybody around a table and kind of figure out where can we find some common ground, and let's bring this to a resolution. I am not going to preside over 4 years of arguments about an Indigenous Peoples Day. This needs to be brought to hopefully a positive resolution, and I believe that there's something definitely there that I will support. I was raised here in Oklahoma City. I wasn't raised in Pawhuska or Osage County. But my grandfather, he grew up going to Indian schools. Everybody in the family and in his circle called him Chief or Uncle Chief, which now seems a little insulting, but but at the time was their way of appreciating his heritage. And so I know where I come from, but at the same time, I grew up here in Oklahoma City, and I didn't necessarily get all the cultural experiences that I would have if I had grown up, closer to the tribal headquarters. But as an adult, I've really tried to tap into that. I've gone to the events as an adult that we have in Pawhuska. My kids now, 8 and 6, are little Osage, and I want them to feel a part of that. And so I've taken them to our tribal dances in Pawhuska, and I've built relationships with several of our chiefs through the last few years. So I take great pride in it, but I don't play the card if it's of any benefit to me, because sometimes I feel like I didn't grow up that way, and I didn't face the disadvantages and challenges that others might have. But at moments like this, I definitely wanted people to know, after it happened, because I felt like this is a point of pride. It should be a point of pride, just like when Sam Bradford won the Heisman Trophy. These are moments that I think are evidence that people like my grandfather, worked hard to fight back against, distrust and bigotry, and create a life for his family where someday his Osage grandson could be the mayor of Oklahoma City. And I think that's a journey that goes back 100 years that reached a pinnacle on February 13th here in Oklahoma City. And I think all American Indians and natives should feel some pride in that, because it's all of our family's journeys.
All right, we want to thank David there for sitting down and visiting with us. We had a wonderful time with him. He's a really sharp guy. He's really nice and really easy to get along with. And I think he's going to do some great things there for Oklahoma City. But it was really neat to be able to ask him some of the questions that you could tell he had already thought about with the Indigenous Peoples Day, things like that. So a great interview there with David Holt, and we certainly appreciate it. Moving right along, right here in Okmulgee, sometimes we get to stay a little bit close to home when we go out and bring you these great stories, and that's the case with this next one here, as we just went over to the Mvskoke Creek Nation Medical Center here in Okmulgee. That's the hospital, community hospital here in the capital city. There on the second floor, I believe, is the behavioral health offices, and really they have opened up a new behavioral health unit. They remodeled the Hope unit. It's a neat little program. It's been going on for quite a while actually in the community, but it's behavioral health, wellness, and it's for seniors. So they opened up that new facility here in Okmulgee.
The Hope Unit is a behavioral health unit for geriatric psych patients age 50 and older. So patients who are in crisis, dementia, maybe suicidal behavior, things of that nature. Again, we're here to take care of not only Creek citizens, but as well as our surrounding community in Okmulgee and other surrounding places. Any type of insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, and your major commercial insurance patients, we will take all those patients. We're here to help our surrounding doctors and our local doctors, our clinic doctors, and if you have patients that need our services, we're open 24/7, and we'd be more than happy to take your patients on our behavioral health unit for Hope Unit. We have a very small ER department. With that being said, our ER sees a lot of patients, about 1,300 patients plus per month. A lot of those patients, they come in with behavior or suicide ideation, things like that. They need somewhere to go. So not only is this going to help us internally direct these patients to the appropriate unit, it's also going to help the community, our local nursing homes, our local hospitals who have these patients who have this unique behavior, maybe suicide ideation or having these issues, that we're able to help those surrounding hospitals take those patients, get them the psychiatric care they need on a safe, a very clean environment, and get these folks back into their homes, back into the community, and back where they can socialize and live a normal life again.
As we age, things seem to break, and our mind can break just as much as anything else. And as the population ages, a lot of times families don't know what to do if their loved one has trouble with memory or becomes depressed. And without places like this, what this can provide, this kind of a unit is, we can declog the emergency rooms and just provide some services and help for families that just don't know where else to turn. And hopefully get somebody's quality of life much better, much more rapidly than ever would be before.
It's a great addition to our hospital. It's again, before it went under remodel, our average daily census was very good. We expect to expand on that. We're licensed for 16 beds. So again, we will fill all 16 beds. So we're really excited to have it. It's going to create additional revenue for the hospital to be able to update our facilities, put money back into the hospital. It's just a great addition to the Department of Health.
Great day there at the Mvskoke Creek Nation Medical Center, and all the best to everybody that's going to be working in that unit. What wonderful work that they're doing, and the Hope unit, newly remodeled, ready to go there in Okmulgee. Well, also somebody ready to go here in Okmulgee, the newest Secretary of Interior Affairs at the Mvskoke Creek Nation has been named, completing a vacancy in Chief James Floyd's cabinet, and that gentleman is Mr. Ben Cheney. It's a post that he's new to, but certainly he's over a few departments that he's not new to. He'll be over transportation, and Mr. Cheney, for all intents and purposes, created the transit program here at Mvskoke Creek Nation as we know it now. New building, you know, the charter buses and picking up people in different communities, everything like that. That wasn't always the case at Mvskoke Creek Nation. So I had a large hand in that. But he talked to me about what he's exactly over and the challenge he's facing and the excitement for the job.
You know, I've been around the Creek Nation for several years, since 1999, and I kind of know what was going on. When Mr. Tiger was elected chief, he reorganized, and I ended up, moving on with the others, and I spent the last 4 years working for the Kaleji tribe, now Wetumpka. But Chief called me one day and asked me if I'd be interested in doing this, and if I'd known what he's talking about. It's a big responsibility, but I can see that it's going to work out for me as well as for those different departments. I've had a chance already to visit with all of the department heads, and I will now go back to each individual, and we'll kind of go over the details of what they're doing. So that's at this point, that's what's needed to be done. That's what I'm trying to do, is kind of pull everybody together here, because there's several departments that work under me. So, being responsible for each of those departments is a challenge. Well, federal roads is one. The roads department, transit department, which basically back in '99 I kind of started the program of the federal roads and transportation and transit. And I started the transit in 2003, and it has grown since I left here. And now we've got a couple of issues, and I'll discuss with them about the transit, and because I started for the better of our people. I'm so new here. This is my second week, so those kinds of things I'll have to be brought up to date on. I'm aware of it, but at this point I need to work with Realty to get the details, so I know how to follow up with that. But it's this part of the challenge is learning, and there's a big learning curve there. So. Well, there's a couple of things I've been interested in, even when I was not here. And, there's a couple of things that need to be paid attention to. One of them is an air lease for the property out front. It's called an airspace lease. And I had negotiated with the Federal Highway Department to give us that portion for something that was really interesting to them. So there's some details about that now I think probably were not completed. So I'll be looking into that pretty close too. Arbor care is that's another big interest, because there's a lot of our people there that needs that service. I took advantage of it last year, and it was really nice to. They come out and trim the trees and the bushes, and and they do a good job. And we need to extend that services more to the people. So, you know, we do a lot of things in each of those departments. But that's really, I mean, other than all of it, you know, there's a lot to do. But I will probably, you know, look first into some of those that I've already mentioned and see how we can improve on those.
All right, Mr. Ben Cheney there. It was neat because I've been around a while. I'm going to date myself here, but I've been around a while, and I remember when Ben Cheney was around his first go around, actually his latest venture there with the transit department. I remember all that, so it was nice to see Mr. Cheney again. I know some of his family and everything like that. His nephew John and Elizabeth actually are the folks that we've had on the program before with the OSU Center for Sovereign Nations. My point is, in Indian country, it's a very small world. So it's nice to see familiar faces. Good to see Ben back, and can't wait to see some of the things he does there in the office and cover them here for Mvskoke Media and see the job that he does. Well, moving right along, as I told you earlier, we went down to the reintegration program. It's a great program, award-winning program that's nationally known and copied here from Mvskoke Creek Nation. They have a new program that they're excited about. They got a new grant, got some money to spend, and they came up with a program that I think that everybody's really going to enjoy hearing about.
What we've looked at in the past is, you know, a lot of Creek citizens that were incarcerated, they may have a spouse or somebody that has also been incarcerated. And so if you're married to a Creek citizen, if you're just being released from incarceration, then this would apply to you. So in that aspect of it, it's mainly geared towards treatment. So what we do is we would have we do an intake and we basically fill things out. You would have to qualify just like you would for the reintegration program. It said this is strictly for the spouse, but it does help that Creek family. And because as you know, when you are incarcerated, it affects everybody. It affects everybody in the family. So when the spouse gets out, the spouse is able to receive this treatment as long as he or she is married to a Creek citizen. They can contact us through phone. They can contact us, you know, through the website, where we'll be uploading everything that we need. It's just a one-page intake. It has the guidelines listed on it and kind of what they need to do. You know, so it's basically the same as getting into reintegration. It's just we've reached out to the spouse. So you do not have to be a Creek citizen if you're incarcerated, as long as you're married to a Creek citizen. So like I said, it's geared towards treatment. So one of the first things we want to do is maybe get into some marriage counseling, maybe get into some substance abuse treatment. It's funded through a grant, the Alcohol and Justice Grant. It's a $750,000 grant by the Alcohol and Justice Department, and it's focused on substance abuse. We need to expend these funds. We need to spend these funds. We were able to get this grant, and we want to utilize it, you know, as quickly as possible. So we encourage everybody to come in that you know would qualify for this if you're a spouse and married to a Creek citizen.
And we want to thank the reintegration program for having us down, talk about this new program that they have themselves and going on. And what's neat about that is it gives us another chance to go down and see the new facility. It's really up and running now and doing a great job there, the transitional living facility. We covered them with their work crew recently, so they're doing a lot of great things. As always, award-winning program for the Mvskoke Creek Nation, and it's always a pleasure to cover them. Well, our last story of the week takes us to Okemah. A lot of people excited about the completion of the Okemah Hospital there. You know, the Mvskoke Creek Nation Okemah Hospital, historically, you know, a lot of people have went there over the years, and a lot of people are excited about this new facility. The tribe held a ceremonial ribbon cutting, really to mark the completion of the physical construction of the place. Important to note, watch the end of this story. It is not open yet. Citizens don't want you to get confused. Not open yet, but they wanted to mark this historic occasion with this ceremony.
Yeah, it is a very exciting day. We're so glad this hospital has been a long time coming for this community. We first started providing health care to the area around Okemah in the 1970s, and we've finally been able to replace our existing hospital, which was over 40 years old and crumbling down and in bad need of repair. And so now this multi-million-dollar state-of-the-art facility is going to be something that is badly needed for this area and is going to really serve the citizens of Mvskoke Creek Nation and the community of Okemah for years to come. The building is really two separate buildings all located in one. On one side we have outpatient services, so we have family medicine and pharmacy and lab and x-ray and all of the things that go along, public health nursing, diabetes. And then on the other side of the building is our inpatient service. So we have a state-of-the-art emergency room, and then we have a 24-bed hospital that's upstairs, and I think that's will be the majority of the inpatient side.
And for more information on the Okemah Hospital and when there's going to be an opening date, we will have that on MvskokeMedia.com. So always stay with the website. We're going to have continuing developments on that. And as you said there at the end of the story, if you read a notice that it is not open. So don't want anybody to get confused on that. Not open just yet, but they definitely wanted to mark the occasion of the finishing of the physical structure and everything like that. So we are excited about what we've got coming up here in the next few weeks at Mvskoke Vision. A lot of great content to show you, a lot of things. We're going to dip into the vault some. We're going to get some of our great archive material to you, and we're also going to have some stuff coming up in the coming weeks that's going to be really good material for the show. Excited about that. So stay with us right here on our home, CW 1219. Always glad to be on here, and always glad to let you know that go to our website, go to our social media sites. We've got Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and we're always doing promotions, always doing things with local businesses. We've got local businesses that we've worked with in the past few weeks, getting some materials out for them and some promotions. We're excited to be partnering with them on these things. It's just a great new feeling here at Mvskoke Media, working with them and doing those type of things. So you'll see us in the community and see us right here on CW 1219, as well as our online channel. Go to YouTube, click on that red button, subscribe to us. You'll get everything as it comes out and as we upload it right there on your phones, on your tablets, whatever, your laptops. So for myself, Jason Salzman, Mr. Jared Moore, we've been doing this a long time. We ain't been doing Mvskoke Vision a long time, but we still got the hang of it. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.